So without further introduction, he doesn't need any. Terry Darbonne, City Marshal.
How can I follow Obama from last night? I forgot to watch it. Heard all that.
I did.
It's always a pleasure to come here. And when Gerard called me, I said, sure, we'll come and give a little update on what's going on in the Marshal's office. As you know, crime is not decreasing, it is increasing. So as it increases, we have to try to stay above the criminals, which is a little hard. We've had some big investigations over the last year or so. We helped collect like $10,000 in restitution fees through joint investigations with the U.S. Marshal's Office, Lafayette Parish. We have good working relationships with our other law enforcement, which, I mean, aids us a lot. We're still doing a lot of security. We picked up security for St. Ed's football games, so we do both schools now. We gladly do that. Things have changed a lot. We try before each game to do a security check of the stadium to make sure that there's nothing that's not supposed to be there. So we're pretty busy with that. As technology has come a long way, we have to keep up with it. We now have body cameras for our offices. I guess a lot of y'all watch the news and how there's quick judgment against police officers, and I'm not going to get into whether they're right or wrong. There is some right and there is some wrong. These body cameras that a lot of these agencies are going to helps to defend the officer, or it's going to sink the officer where he's not supposed to be. I know the police department had received some, so we went out there, and I have to say that over my years as marshal, knock on wood, we have never had an investigation because of technology that we use. We have used recorders before. Well, nobody wants to carry a recorder because it gets damaged or whatever. So we're now implementing, we have a policy of when the cameras are to be used. Anytime that we are in contact with someone on the street, they are to be turned on. Anytime that you are on a traffic stop, they are to be turned on. Prisoners. We transporting more prisoners now than we ever did. 18 years ago, we probably averaged 40 prisoners a year. Last year, we transported approximately 146 prisoners. And we're not talking about going to Opelousas and picking up a prisoner. We're talking Minden, Monroe, New Orleans, the Ritter. I don't think there's a place in Louisiana that we haven't been to. And people say, well, why are y'all picking up prisoners somewhere else? Goes through the court system, charges are filed, warrants come out. They may have come in for the weekend, committed a battery or something. They go back up north, New Orleans, wherever. Warrant comes out, we contact that agency, whether it's Marshal's Office, Sheriff's Department, and they get arrested, well then we have to transport. Here's the problem. It takes, if it's a female, we transport with 2 male officers. I will never transport a female with 1 officer. It's for the security of the prisoner being transported and to my office. Make sure there's no accusations being made. Mileages are recorded, everything. So it takes a lot to transport a prisoner. It takes usually 2 people. And if it's on a far trip, and depending on the severity of the crime, why we're going to pick him up, we may send 2 people. The problem is if you got to go pick up a male and a female up north, you got to go in 2 separate units. So the cost of transporting somebody is very expensive. And sometimes we have to go get them for court and go bring them back. So it's 2 days of transporting. So we're dealing a lot with prisoners now. We're delivering a lot of subpoenas now for civil service. You have so many lawsuits that are coming because they're not handling the way they're supposed to be. But let me tell you something. When you're handcuffing somebody or arresting somebody and they fight with you, fighting is not fair. You got to remember that. And I'm not going to say, hold time out, you can't hit me there. You know, you don't have time for that. So you got to come up with different things. Like we went through the tasers. Some departments have them, some don't. researched it a whole lot before I allowed them to use it. We've been having them approximately 4 years. I think we used it once. Because they pull them out and they say, I'm about to tase you. I quit. There's a red dot on them. I quit. Because they see videos of it and they see exactly the effect of a taser. And if y'all want one day, I'll bring somebody in here and we'll show you. Because my chief deputy, he likes the shock of it every once in a while. I will not tell him till he gets here. But if y'all want to see what it's like, I will bring him here. Just don't tell him, Randy. I'm going to invite him to a free lunch. That's how we do it.
Free lunch and a floor show, sir. That's a free lunch and a floor show.
I tell you, it's something. If you haven't seen somebody get tased, it's something. You completely lose any control that you have of your body. I have a photo I'd like to show you. Most of y'all hunters, they'll look at this as a shotgun. We can pass it around. This is actually something that is sold at Walmart for $349.97. If I would show, or if I would have a replica one and put it on that table, most of y'all in here would say that's real. It's not. It shoots out some pepper balls, shoots out some non-lethal balls, and the other one is some kind of liquidy substance. You buy it at Walmart. That sells for $24.99. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you is this is what law enforcement has to come across and to decide whether that is a weapon that is about to kill me or not. You remember, they got to make split-second decisions on these things. You're supposed to put the orange tips on them. But do y'all see an orange tip on these? No. And a lot of kids remove the orange tips on them. As law enforcement, you get a call and you respond to something like this and you come across it and it's a dark room. You pray that you don't have to kill a kid because they come across with something like that. And when my wife goes to buy a gift for somebody for a birthday party, I tell her, send me a picture. I want to see what you're buying before you give it to them. But that's just an example of what we have to fight through when we're out there looking for somebody. Especially if we're looking for somebody with warrants that are very violent, and we got to walk in the room and we don't know if he's reaching for something that is real or something that's not. About a month ago, I sent all my deputies that work for me full-time and part-time to a meth lab training in Appaloosas, free of charge. A lot of these trainings that they send are free of charge. I've sent my deputies as far as Georgia to training. I believe in on-the-job training, but I believe in giving training for other law enforcement agents because at the end of the day, we all want to go home. Their training in meth lab was simply walking into a room. This guy was showing you how every day they take for granted walking into a room where it might have been used as a meth lab. You wouldn't be surprised at some of the ingredients that is going into making meth. And as our deputies are in houses every day, police department is in houses, fire department, ambulance personnel. I wish they'd all have this training, and we're trying to get this same guy to come to Eunice to train the fire department and the police department. In there, you could see if you walked in a room to be able to identify something. At this moment, there's a meth lab right now that caught on fire. One of my deputies was on the scene with the fire department. First thing when you see something burning as a fireman or a policeman is to run in. As soon as they ran in, they realized what they had. And I don't know if y'all been called yet. So he called and notified what they had. So every responding person knew not to go in there. It's very dangerous. An explosion can happen with a little bit of friction of anything, of walking on a carpet or whatever. But if we don't undergo this training, we can get somebody killed. Immediately when he found out what it was, the person inside told him what it was, he immediately got everybody out. But remember that, it could be your mom living next door. It could be whatever. Don't assume that there's nothing out of the ordinary going on. If you think something is going on, make that phone call. Because it is very dangerous. There's a lot of people out there making drugs now. And it could be a shed in the backyard. That has happened. So if you notice something, that they awfully staying by this building a lot, and then you might see a little smoke, you might see some additives, you might see a burner, you might see them walking in with Brillo pad, just different things that doesn't fit. You're not being nosy. You're being very concerned, because it does happen here. We turn on the news and you see it happen in Lafayette and Karen Crow. It does happen here. But if we don't train our personnel, we could have got them all killed.
What's the main ingredient that's explosive?
I didn't go there, so I don't know what it
Normally
is.
in a meth lab. Any one particular?
It depends what they're mixing together. It depends the chemicals that they're mixing together. You have usually propane bottles. You usually have, what it is, they're mixing it, some of them into a Coke bottle. And what happens when the pressure of it rises, I mean, a little blow that bottle up if you shake it too much. It is very, very dangerous. I think another time when we get invited, I'll have somebody come over here and explain to y'all basically about meth lab.
So it's not one ingredient,
It's not, it's a combination.
They're mixing chemicals
And
together.
different people some might be making crack cocaine. Some might be making something else. So, ordinary stuff that you see hanging around, and some of y'all have rent houses. You may see some of this when you're moving out. We got a call of one that saw synthetic marijuana. Those people wouldn't have noticed that. But they walked in, and he had them evicted, and the deputies were evicting them. All over the floor was packages of synthetic marijuana. But there's so many different synthetic marijuanas out there, it's unbelievable. As they are banning one, there's another one being made. They're banning this bath salt, there's another one being made. It's kind of like radar detectors. They sell you one, hey, the cops can't catch you. Well, the police are developing one to catch doubt. So it's a constantly who can get the better one. But I believe in educating our deputies, our reserves, because we all do the same thing. So every month we try to have trainings, but we rely a lot on the public to give us a helping hand because we can't be everywhere. But
K